I think we are connected now, the founder and co-founder of America's Roundtable broadcast of the International Leaders Summit, the one and only Joel and Natasha. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. Good morning, guys. How are you?
A very good morning to you, Paul. It's great to see you. Sorry that we're not connected visually, but we'll work on these technical details shortly.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, guys. I don't think it's your fault. I think it's Putin's fault, and I will blame it on him. But, man, we woke up this morning with, you think it can't get any worse, but it continues to do that every single day. And this news of the big... I can't even pronounce the name of the nuclear power plant that they've captured. It's do you know how to pronounce that name?
Yeah, in fact, after a night of shelling a nuclear plant, Putin's Russia has really taken control of Europe's largest nuclear power station in Ukraine, and as world leaders are calling the shelling reckless, horrific, and unacceptable, we are inching closer, it seems like, to what we would consider an encounter with Russia and Putin's Russia in this case.
Well, I mean, it's at some point, it looks like the America and NATO is going to be brought into this, and God forbid, because we, when we were growing up, the worst thing in the world to hear about was World War III, and I don't know how many times that we've heard that World War III would be the last war. It would end civilization at this particular point. And I wonder, what does he think he's going to gain by this? At what point do you think he will stop and say, okay, I've captured half of it, draw the line, this is what I want, and leave me alone after this?
Yeah, I think what at this time here is basically his plan is to capture all of Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And apparently there was a conversation that Putin had with French President Macron. And apparently Macron came out of that meeting, that phone call meeting just a day or two ago, saying the worst is yet to come. And so I think the West has to brace themselves for what Putin is planning on doing. Of course, there are 4 nuclear reactors in Ukraine. He has seized one of them, as well as the Chernobyl facility as well. So there are serious concerns for the West as well as for America. And we have 90,000 troops in Europe at this moment, U.S. troops that are mostly in Germany and then scattered through NATO countries. So this is certainly going to impact Americans as well.
Natasha, let me ask you, because geographically you would think he would be worried about the destruction of a nuclear power plant as big as that on the Russian people, too. It's not unheard of that it could be injurious to them. Am I right?
Right, you would think so, but Putin is not, rational at this stage. I mean, the things that he's doing are suicidal, as you said. Actually, it's going to affect Russian people as well. Mm-hmm. So basically, he feels he doesn't have anything to lose, and that's a scary part, because we cannot count on Russian decisions by Putin's Russia. The problem is at this stage that there's no alternative in Russia. We were thinking that, there was major anti-war Russian protests. So people don't want the war in Russia. There's some 8,000 people that were arrested in Russia. But based on, recent intelligence by the German intelligence services, they say that they don't see anyone else coming. So, we thought that the sanctions will make sure that some kind of toppling happen, that maybe within Russia there will be enough forces to replace Putin. But this is not happening. So sanctions are not working because he continues. It's the ninth day of invasion, ninth day of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And they say that he won't stop, and even he may take Kiev. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, what it means is that now they're talking about Bosnia. I mean, they're saying, what if? Because Bosnia's leader, which is in the Balkans, former Yugoslavia, where there was the last war in the 90s, well, he's aligning with Putin. And Putin said that if Bosnia comes any closer to NATO, that's going to be a big danger. So
let me ask. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me ask Joel. In the limited time we have here, let me ask Joel. Do the Ukrainian people, the army there, do they have any power or any wherewithal to strike within Russia? Are they capable of doing that?
Well, they're certainly outmatched. That's what we know from all the reports. You're talking about the largest army and military in Europe, and that's Russia. And Ukraine is a David fighting a Goliath. They certainly do not have a significant number of what we would consider nuclear, lethal weapons. In fact, as we all know, that in 1995 at the Budapest meeting that took place, actually the Ukrainian government at that time handed over all its nuclear arsenal to Russia. And America at that time under the Clinton administration agreed that if Ukraine was attacked, that they would come to protect it. However, we have seen that once you disarm yourself, you certainly become a target. And I would say that Putin has seen America's weakness around the world, and specifically what we all witnessed in the fall of 2021 with the Afghanistan pullout, which was chaotic and disastrous. And he took this moment. He seized the moment. But as far as Ukraine is concerned, they do not have the significant weapons that they certainly would appreciate having at this time. They don't have the planes. They're certainly outmatched. And we could have done more over the past few months. The Biden administration could have done more to certainly fortify Ukraine, and NATO could have done more. But we just did not step up to the plate.
I want you to hear what Tulsi Gabbard said, because she was on, I think, last night, and a little bit of this.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Chernobyl. You've had these experts on talking about the potential ramifications of this. I went to Chernobyl after my second deployment to the Middle East, went to Chernobyl myself to see for myself the aftermath of what this kind of disaster looks like. And to hear them talking about this nuclear power plant in Ukraine being many times larger, and therefore the implications of this potential explosion being many times greater, chills me to my very core. I'll never forget, as I walked down the halls of those classrooms where there are still deflated basketballs on the basketball court, empty children's shoes lying in the street, people who literally fled with no time. This place is frozen in time and is a living reminder to us all about the heavy consequences of what we're facing here. And God forbid that this nuclear power plant also goes towards that path of destruction. It's unimaginable what the impacts of that will be.
Joel, I would guess that would be the straw that broke the camel's back as far as the rest of the world knowing that they have to. It may not be pretty, but there's something that has to be done if he sets that thing or bombs that thing.
Yeah. Putin is not just only playing with fire. Putin and his war machine are literally playing with nuclear plants, shelling one last night, capturing one. And higher levels of gamma radiation will not just only impact Ukraine, it will impact the whole of Europe and beyond. So at this stage here, as I recall, Lady Thatcher, when she was out of office in the 1990s, when she looked at what was happening in the Balkans, she communicated the importance, the significance of just intervention. Now, we certainly have to be very careful in our approach and prudent in our approach, but I would say that this is the time for the legislators in Washington, D.C., as well as the administration, to not just only talk tough right now, but it is time perhaps for the consideration of a just intervention, but done prudently. We certainly have other measures that we can take.
But you got to be a little bit. It's bizarre that Joe Biden hasn't done everything that he could do. I mean, as far as the fuel's concerned, according to some reports, we're still buying 600,000 or more gallons every single day from Russia. He's turning those into bullets. We haven't done everything we could to block his finances. There's some things